Don't Look at the Demon. Don't Look at the Demon is a supernatural thriller from Malaysian director and producer Brando Lee, who describes his filmmaking approach as having a yin and a yang, adding, "I believe the world should have good and bad, both angels and evil beings." Plot. Inspired by a real forbidden ritual and Lee's own personal experiences, the story follows Jules, the paranormal investigator and medium on television, played by horror favorite Fiona Dourif, who is plagued by unwanted visions that may allude to her own childhood trauma. Everything we know of her trauma is described through flashbacks involving her and her sister as children. Accompanying Jules is her investigative and camera crew, led by her lover Matt, her on-screen brothers Ben and Wolf, along with local guide Annie. The film begins with a Buddhist ritual where a monk is exorcising a girl with a tattoo. The poor woman is suffering, and this doesn't go unnoticed by Jules, who is hostile toward the monk and even tries to stop the ritual to ease the pain of the woman accused of being possessed. At the end of the ritual, it's clear that Jules is quite aggressive and doesn't have good chemistry with the monk, but the monk does something to her, and this will have consequences later. The girl is exorcised with the tattoo, and then the investigative team sets off. While riding in the van, Shajai and Scubby style, in the mystery machine, Jules receives a stack of emails and, by simply passing her hand over them, she can tell if they're real or fake. According to her, it's a gift she has. She can see, hear, and feel when she does this, so she figures out everything. Then, the TV crew travels to the stunning Malaysian highlands to investigate the supposedly haunting apparitions in a married couple's home. The house's new owners, married couple Ian and Martha, have been plagued by strange occurrences and have sought help from Jules and her investigation team, as they are fans of her show. At first, Jules suspects the couple is simply looking for attention. She sees a person outside the window, but doesn't think anything of it. They search the entire house and Jules doesn't notice anything, but the couple is very insistent and asks them to go to the basement. Jules asks if one of them was looking out the window when they arrived, and the answer is no. Jules reluctantly goes to the basement and that's where she experiences something supernatural. Something literally touches her, and Jules runs out of the house with her tail between her legs. It's more than obvious how scared she was and she wanted to leave the place. She had never experienced anything like that in her life, and it was terrifying. Matt never agreed to leave. On the one hand, it's understandable. He was the producer and director of the Supernatural program and they had something truly supernatural there and running away was not coherent. But on the other hand, your expert advises you that you should not get involved in there and that you should leave immediately and you don't pay attention to him. How strange, don't you think? How good that doesn't happen in reality, and the directors always listen to their advisors. Ha ha ha. Martha is experiencing her own disturbing spiritual attack. Fortunately, she has the support of her husband, and this anchors her in the realm of life. Everyone witnesses Martha's supernatural attack, except for the local girl, who was fast asleep and didn't notice anything. Jules doesn't think she can handle this and so she goes for a walk leaving her team alone, who know nothing about these things, and then she enters a kind of bar. There a man attends to her and tells her a little about the history of the house. It belonged to a doctor, but he mysteriously disappeared. Then the house had several owners but they didn't last. The cause was that the wives were attacked inside the house and ended up abandoning it. After telling this, the bartender tells her that she has to go with her friends since they will be in grave danger without her. Saying this, she disappears and the bar automatically transforms into an abandoned place. In that, a caretaker arrives and tells her that she can't be there. Jules immediately goes back to the house very scared. Meanwhile, crazy things are happening at the house. First, Matt and the local girl go out to look for Jules. Meanwhile, at home, the brothers monitor the house through cameras, and one of them hears a baby crying, so he goes to check. Their first big mistake: this guy gets possessed, and then the fun begins. Jules arrives and is then confronted by the possessed man's brother. He tells her she has to save him and squeezes her neck. Martha's husband tells her to let her go. Jules goes outside and sees Matt arrive, and then he kisses the local girl. Jules then has a girl moment with Martha while smoking very nervously. She explains to Martha that when she was a child she played with her sister and they performed a ritual to invoke a deceased boy that her sister liked. But in one session something possessed her sister and devoured her soul. Then her mother entered and all she could see was her sister's lifeless body and Jules screaming scared next to her. For this reason she couldn't help her, but Martha tells her that's what she does, that she saw her on TV, but Jules clarifies that they had never found anything big like this, they only found strange things like objects moving and they recorded it and left the place to the next place. Then things got worse. The possessed man appeared in the house and kidnapped Martha, dragged her to her bedroom, locked the doors, and no one could get in. The possessed man then began to touch Martha all over and spank her, while in the basement, Jules was held against the wall and nailed to the wall. Upstairs, everyone was finally able to get in to help Martha, and downstairs, Jules was freeing himself from the nails. Jules finally realized he needed expert help, so he asked Matt and the local girl to go find the monk. The monk arrives. Jules tells him he now has his powers back, and the monk says he knows this because he gave them back to him. In the house, they find a secret room. There, they find a tape where the doctor was seen removing fetuses from the women's wombs and then placing them in boxes on a shelf. This was to create spirits that would protect the master's house and serve him even after he was dead. The mother's corpses are also buried in the house, so their spirits remain trapped inside. They make a plan to exorcise the possessed man and Martha. Everyone sits in a circle praying while the possessed man is tied to a chair. He writhes to the chance. He tries to trick his brother by telling him that he never helped him when his mother abused him. He then does the same to her husband, and then to Jules, telling him that he killed his sister. The possessed man and Martha are out of control. The possessed man floats in his chair and Martha writhes with her eyes bulging. Until everything seems to be a success, Martha and the possessed man are freed from evil spirits. The possessed man is untied and stands up. He thanks his brother and then grabs him by the neck. Because he was still possessed, the monk looks scared. Jules runs to make a circle and a pentagram. The evil spirit knocks out everyone except Jules, who challenges the spirit, who is revealed to be the doctor, to come after her. The doctor's heavily tattooed spirit goes after her and also challenges her. It possesses her and then Jules writhes like a slug when they throw salt on it. It moos and screams. Everything seems lost, but Jules gets rid of this spirit, although it is not seen how she does it. In the following scene, everything is completely calm. Everyone smiles and says goodbye. Everything is happy, like at the end of a movie. But wait, this is horror. It can't all be right. This movie is a fraud, that's what you think. And then Jules realizes something strange, the monk isn't there. He goes to look for him and finds him on the table. The monk says to him, as if in a trance, "You killed her, you killed her." Jules doesn't know what she's talking about, and neither does any of us, but there's a flashback and we see the scene where Jules's sister died. Then we see the real thing. Jules was possessed and chased her sister to hurt her, until she finally caught up with her and killed her. So, returning to the house, we see that it was all just a pipe dream for Jules, who had once again created a new reality, as it became clear that everyone was actually dead. On the stairs, Martha can be seen with a hole in her abdomen. It can be interpreted that the baby was taken out of her. While she asks, "Why did you do it?" implying that it was Jules herself who took the baby from Martha. And here the film ends with a crazy woman possessed by an evil spirit. Comments. This is a well-polished film. The camera work is very fluid, the set designs feel lived in, and the sound quality is crisp. Stylistically, the film uses shadows and muted earth tones. This enriches the atmosphere of things barely glimpsed out of the corner of your eye. The first truly demonic scene is compelling, well acted, and appropriately jarring, if a bit derivative of bigger budget films like The Exorcist and The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Jules's chilling description of her first encounter with a demon, "He ate her soul and made me watch," perfectly encapsulates the idea that trauma transcends the physical realms and stains the souls of all those who experience it. The direction of Don't Look at the Demon reflects the asymmetry of Lee's deeply rooted Malaysian spiritual beliefs fused with Hollywood horror cliches. As the crew investigates the mystery further, they encounter possessions and spirits more horrifying than they've ever experienced anywhere else. Secret rooms and even darker secrets are discovered within the mansion's walls, with links to an ancient, forbidden Thai ritual known as Kuman Thong, a practice of invoking the powers of unborn fetuses that were ripped from their mother's womb, leading to stillbirths and the restless spirits of their mothers wandering the mansion. Jules has had the gift of seeing and interacting with spirits since a young age and has had supernatural encounters. She seems to be the only one who can deal with these kinds of situations. I thoroughly enjoyed the film's depictions of the forbidden ritual, involving a Buddhist monk performing a protective spell in the form of a religious bamboo tattoo, as well as the Western occult aesthetic of pentagrams and candlelight. This is truly a fusion film, with the director utilizing white and Malaysian actors and their diverse cultures to portray his own vision of horror. His love of Western cinema and his understanding of emotional and metaphysical trauma invokes a fresh and unique twist on the genre. That's all for this movie, goodbye.